Picture this. You are standing on the edge of like a massive overgrown clearing.
Yeah.
The air smells like ozone and crushed rock. And right in the center of it all is a 6-meter tall, black-scaled Goblin King.
Oh, wow. Just an absolute titan.
Exactly. It's a monster that requires heavily armored raid parties just to scratch it. But then there is Noah.
Right.
He is completely unarmored. He's charging directly at this behemoth, and he is laughing. Just laughing maniacally.
I mean, it's just a crazy mental image.
It is. And the Goblin King swings a fist the size of a literal boulder. It smashes into Noah's chest, launching him backward at blinding speed.
He just gets completely level.
Right. He craters into a solid stone wall. Dust explodes everywhere. The impact is deafening. And then he just steps out of the dust.
No.
Not a single scratch on him. And he is still laughing. Do not ask me how yet. Just feel the pure insanity of that image.
It's pure, unfiltered insanity. I mean, it defies every single rule of survival in this world.
Welcome back to DeepLore. Last episode, Noah discovered he has infinite mana and nearly got his head bitten off by a polar bear. Today, everything escalates.
I mean, everything.
Yeah, the infinite mana is totally confirmed. He's cleared 2 E-rank dungeons completely solo.
Which is wild.
Right? And he got the Arctic armor skill, but he also realized exactly how weak he still is. So today, our mission for this deep dive is to track how Noah scales up his power at an impossible rate.
Because, you know, he's moving so fast, the world is starting to notice him.
Yeah, they really are. But before we get to the giant monsters and the people in charge, we actually need to ground ourselves in a much quieter, heavier place.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Because right after the adrenaline rush of those early victories, we get a scene that just completely reframes the entire narrative. Noah's sitting in this pristine, expensive hotel room.
He's rich now.
Exactly. He's counting up his ENF rank monster cores, realizing he's holding over $180,000 in loot.
That's just an absurd amount of money.
Right. And right in the middle of counting this unimaginable wealth, he just breaks down.
Yeah.
He starts crying.
It completely stopped me in my tracks while I was reading. Up until this point, it's so easy to view this through the lens of like a standard power fantasy.
Right. Guy gets a broken ability, guy grinds dungeons, guy gets rich.
Exactly. But then this flashback hits and it strips all that glamour away. He remembers the day the monsters first appeared.
Oh man, those last words.
Yeah, the last words he ever said to his parents as they walked out the door for their anniversary date were, "You guys have fun."
I mean, put yourself in his shoes for a second. You say a casual goodbye, and the next thing you know, the sky just rips open.
And he never sees them again. He spends 2 straight days hiding in a dark basement. He's just clutching his phone, listening to the screams of his neighbors.
And the growls of the monsters outside.
Yeah. The grief, the shame, the 2 days completely alone. He's just entirely paralyzed by fear and utterly powerless.
Which means this entire grind, you know, it isn't a power fantasy at all. It's a trauma response.
Right. That's exactly it.
He isn't hoarding skills because he wants to be the coolest hunter in the room. He is terrified.
Yeah.
He's desperately trying to build this impenetrable wall between himself and the nightmare outside.
It's a huge shift. And I actually want to ask you, listening to this right now, does knowing this change how you feel about watching him ruthlessly clear these dungeons?
It has to, right?
Because for me, it shifts him from, you know, an opportunistic gamer breaking a system to a survivor desperately trying to ensure he never feels that helpless again.
Yeah, it changes everything.
Yeah.
His desperation for survival dictates exactly how he spends that $180,000.
Oh, the shopping spree.
Yeah, he goes to the Awaken Center, but he isn't buying flashy, screen-clearing offensive abilities. He is buying a fortress.
Totally.
Let's walk through the logic of his lit RPG economy here. First, he grabs a D-rank skill called Flames of Torment.
Which is basically a skill that shoots a concentrated pillar of fire.
Right, it's incredibly destructive, but almost every hunter completely ignores it. Why?
Because the energy drain is just atrocious. I mean, in a normal raid party, a mage who casts Flames of Torment would be completely drained and defenseless in seconds.
It's just badly balanced.
Exactly. It's a terrible skill for a normal human. But Noah breaks the fundamental economy of the system. The downside just doesn't exist for him.
So a skill balanced by its extreme cost becomes this permanent, unstoppable laser beam.
Yeah, it's completely broken in his hands.
But his next purchase is the one that really highlights his mindset. He buys Safeguard, a D rank skill.
For $60,000.
Yeah, for a tank skill. He's a mage, but he buys a tank skill that provides almost absolute physical defense against lower ranking attacks.
Yeah.
But there is a massive flaw.
You literally cannot move a single muscle while it's active. You are rooted to the floor.
Right. In a normal dungeon dive, a boss realizes it can't hurt the stationary tank, so it just walks around them to slaughter the squishy mages.
Or the tank inevitably runs out of mana, the shield drops, and they just get swarmed.
What's fascinating here is that Noah doesn't need to move.
Wait, I'm supposed to say that catchphrase. But yes, exactly. What's fascinating here is that Noah doesn't need to move.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
It's all good. But yeah, he takes a skill that is effectively a death trap for 99% of hunters and turns it into an exploit. He can plant himself in the middle of a room, activate Safeguard, and just become an invincible turret.
Because he never runs out of energy, so the shield never drops.
Right. He can just stand there completely motionless and let his infinite flames of torment melt everything that tries to approach him.
He's literally hacking the mechanics of the world. But survival isn't just about standing still. He does a few more dungeon runs, makes a fortune, and buys the absolute crown jewel of his defensive build.
Oh, the Arcanist's Sphere of Protection.
Yes, this is a C rank skill. It costs him $550,000.
$500,000.
Right, and it provides absolute permanent defense against anything C rank or lower, without the movement penalty of Safeguard. Plus, he layers on Danger Sense and Camouflage.
Which is such a crazy combo. Let's quickly explain how those interact. Danger Sense operates like a mental radar, pinging him the moment hostile intent enters his vicinity.
And Camouflage.
Camouflage hides him from the system itself, specifically from anyone C rank or below. When you combine a $500,000 C rank shield, an early warning radar system, and literal invisibility, Noah has effectively made himself an undetectable ghost.
Which instantly pays off during his next dungeon dive. Because, treating a deadly dungeon like an ATM has real-world consequences, but first he has to actually clear it.
Right, the farming montage.
Yeah, Chapter 7. We get this incredible farming montage where he runs the Frozen Wasteland dungeon 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
And the contrast here is staggering.
Because last time, the polar bear boss nearly bit his head off.
Exactly. It was a desperate, bloody fight this time. He walks in, his Danger Sense tracks the bear, he activates his skills, and he just effortlessly blasts the boss to pieces.
It doesn't even get within striking distance.
And he's picking up fantastic loot. He grabs items like Swift Boots, Blade Strike, and Kenshin's Sword.
And you might wonder how Swift Boots, which passively boost speed, synergize with a stationary skill like Safeguard. Well, the speed allows him to position himself perfectly in the center of the battlefield before locking down his defenses.
He is optimizing every single variable. Okay, let's unpack this. Because during this farming montage, his basic F-rank Fireball skill hits a proficiency of 96.
So close.
Just 4 points away from a perfect 100. And in this system, hitting a proficiency of 100 isn't just getting an A+ on a test.
No, it's the absolute hard ceiling of human capability for that tier.
The text is purposefully keeping us in suspense, but we both know that hitting that ceiling is going to fundamentally alter the physics of his magic.
It has to. I mean, the system is built on these numerical thresholds.
But, you can't just shatter clear time records without the system's algorithm flagging you. Clearing an E-rank dungeon in 20 minutes triggers a massive red flag.
In the city's risk assessment network.
Exactly. Which brings the consequences right to Noah's doorstep in Chapter 8. We have this brilliant cold open from the perspective of a butler.
The tension in this transition is masterfully done. The butler is staring at a screen, noticing that the Frozen Wasteland dungeon has dropped from a moderate risk of a monster breakout down to a low risk.
And it happened in the span of 2 hours.
Right. And to the people running the city, that is terrifying. Dungeons only drop in risk when they are cleared repeatedly. To clear it that fast, you'd need a highly coordinated, elite team of high-ranking hunters working flawlessly.
But there is no team. It's just one guy with infinite mana. So we cut from the terrified butler to Noah arriving at his dilapidated, rundown apartment.
And he puts his key in the lock.
Opens the door, and instantly before his eyes even adjust to the dark, his new Danger Sense skill starts screaming in his head.
He doesn't even hesitate. He activates his $500,000 C-rank shield before he even speaks a word.
And sitting right there in his living room, decked out in glowing blue magical items, is Cohen Anderson. Yeah. He's a B-rank hunter. In fact, he is the only B-rank hunter in the entire city of Outer Bankax.
And Cohen has done his homework. He lists off Noah's dungeon history, his orphan status, his impossibly fast clear times.
He's basically stalking him.
Exactly. And Cohen looks at Noah, sees him casually maintaining an incredibly taxing C-rank defensive shield, and logically concludes that Noah must be a high tier C-rank hunter hiding his true power level.
Because nobody else could afford that mana drain. So Cohen extends an offer, which is really a draft notice for a suicide mission.
Yeah, it's a command.
He tells Noah that in 3 days, he is mandated to join a raid on Soleil's castle. This is a C-rank dungeon that kills C-rank hunters every single week.
We really need to discuss Cohen as a character here because he embodies the dark reality of this world's power structures. Is he a villain?
I mean, you have to admit, Cohen is the only thing keeping the city safe. Soleil's castle is extremely deadly, and Cohen is the one leading the charge to prevent a dungeon break that would slaughter the civilian population. He is genuinely protecting the city.
I genuinely have to push back on that framing, though. Look at the context clues. Yes, he clears the dungeon, but he acts like a warlord.
True. He is sitting in the dark in a stranger's apartment,
issuing threats. And more importantly, let's look at the scene with his butler. When the butler brings him this urgent news about the dungeon risk, Cohen casually asks if the girls are ready upstairs.
Oh yeah, that part.
And the butler explicitly notes they are newly awakened girls. Cohen is using his unparalleled power to exploit vulnerable, brand new hunters. He isn't protecting the city out of a sense of nobility, he's protecting his territory. That tells you exactly what kind of man he is.
That's a very fair read. The strong rule the weak, and Noah realizes in that moment that all his plans for laying low are completely dead. He has 3 days before he is forced into a meat grinder of a dungeon.
Which brings us right back to the adrenaline of our opening hook.
Yes.
Yes.
Chapter 10. Noah needs to test his absolute limits before Soleil's castle. He goes to the Goblin King's abode, a D-rank dungeon, to face the boss.
And this is where we see the culmination of all his psychological preparation and his massive spending spree.
So Noah charges a 6-meter tall titan, unarmored, laughing.
Just completely unhinged.
The Goblin King hits him with a fist that should shatter every bone in a normal human's body. It launches Noah into the stone wall, creating a massive crater. But here's the mechanical payoff we talked about.
The Arcanist's sphere of protection.
It absorbs 100% of the kinetic energy. He takes 0 damage.
The psychological warfare here is brilliant. The monster realizes its ultimate earth-shattering attack did absolutely nothing. Noah's trauma demanded an impenetrable wall, and he actually built one.
And then Noah goes on the offensive. And he doesn't just shoot his flames of torment like a cannon anymore. As his proficiency has leveled up, his control has evolved.
Right, the manipulate.
He manipulates the pillar of fire like a telekinetic rope. He lashes it around the Goblin King's arm and literally bisects it. Just cuts the massive arm clean off.
The precision is terrifying. He then coils that flame into a spinning ring, rushes in, and cleanly decapitates a 6-meter boss.
It's wild.
If you compare this fight to his desperate scramble for his life against that polar bear just 4 chapters ago, the growth arc is astronomical.
All right, theory corner time. We have a lot of dangling threads from these chapters, and we need to hash them out. First up on the docket, proficiency 100.
Oh, this is the big one.
Both Fireball and Arctic Armor are creeping right up to that max number. What actually happens when it hits 100? Does it just get a massive damage boost, or does the system rank it up from F to E, or evolve into a new skill entirely?
I am firmly in the rank up camp. The system in this world is highly categorized. F rank cores only work up to 50 attribute points, E rank up to 100.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Right. Everything operates in these distinct tiers. It makes perfect logical sense that a skill, once fully mastered at one tier, ascends to the next tier to remain mathematically relevant.
See, I completely disagree. I don't think it ranks up. I think it evolves into a completely new mechanic entirely.
Really?
Yeah. Look at how he's already manipulating the flames of torment into ropes and spinning rings. The magic is malleable. I bet at 100, Fireball stops being a projectile entirely and unlocks something like remote detonation or persistent aura. The system clearly rewards creativity over raw numbers.
That's entirely possible, but let's move to a much more immediate problem. Debate number 2. Cohen's surveillance versus Noah's camouflage.
Oh yeah.
Cohen had Noah's danger level revised to B rank in the system after their meeting. We know camouflage hides Noah completely from anyone C rank and below. But Cohen is a B-rank hunter. If Cohen is having him watched, does he already see through the invisibility, or is Noah genuinely a ghost to him?
I think he absolutely sees through it. The skill description explicitly says powerful B-rank hunters can notice you fairly easily.
But Cohen is busy.
Yeah, but Cohen isn't just a B-rank. He's a veteran who survives Soleil's castle twice a week. His perception has to be razor sharp. I think Noah's walking around downtown thinking he's invisible, and Cohen's network is tracking his every move.
I'm going to disagree again. I actually think Noah is genuinely a ghost right now. Think about the geography and the sheer scale of Outer Bank X.
It is a big city.
It's a massive, sprawling city. Cohen is busy with his dungeon raids and his exploitative extracurricular activities. Even if a B-rank hunter could theoretically spot the camouflage, they'd have to be physically looking in the exact right place at the exact right time.
That's a fair point.
Noah's moving incredibly fast and bypassing the normal gate checks. I think the camouflage is holding.
Well, we'll see who's right in 3 days. Which brings us to debate number 3. The odds at Soleil's castle.
The meat grinder.
Exactly. Noah's walking in there, and he currently has absolutely Z-rank offensive skills. All his money went to his shield and his radar. His best weapon is the D-rank Flames of Torment. Is fighting a C-rank Titan with a D-rank spell a fatal problem?
Here's where it gets really interesting. You're looking at the rank of the spell, but you're completely ignoring the math of his mana.
Okay, lay it on me.
Think of it like trying to break down a solid brick wall. A C-rank hunter hits that wall 3 times with a massive sledgehammer, but then they pass out from magical exhaustion.
Right.
Noah is tapping the wall with a jeweler's hammer, but he's hitting it 10,000 times a second, forever.
Wow, okay.
Statistically, infinite casts of a slightly weaker spell will inevitably output vastly more damage than a finite number of stronger spells. The lack of C-rank offense isn't a problem. It's the perfect opportunity to see his infinite mana mathematically break the game's scaling.
A jeweler's hammer swinging 10,000 times a second. I love that. Okay, last one for Theory Corner. Debate number 4. The political subplot.
Yes, the broadcast.
In Chapter 6, Noah's watching TV in his hotel, and there's a broadcast comparing 2 global superpowers. They detail the United Federation, which is highly regulated, very safe, but heavily taxes its hunters. And they compare it to their own nation, the Blessed Empire, which is free from taxes, but has a massive mortality rate and frequent dungeon breaks.
I want to be incredibly clear here to our listeners. We aren't endorsing either of these fictional political systems. We're simply analyzing the text impartially.
Absolutely.
The broadcast shows the Blessed Empire trying to spin its high death toll as the necessary price of freedom, while painting the Federation as an oppressive regime. It's a fascinating look at how this world's governments justify their survival rates.
Right, but my question is this just throwaway world-building flavor text to make the universe feel bigger, or is this setting up a massive future arc?
Oh, it is absolutely planting seeds. In progression fantasy, you never introduce a broader geopolitical ideology unless the protagonist is eventually going to disrupt it.
That makes sense.
Think about it. Both the Federation and the Empire rely on finite resources hunters with limited mana pools who need to rest. Outer Bank X is just the tutorial zone for Noah.
Just the tutorial zone.
Eventually, his infinite mana is going to make him a strategic asset that fundamentally breaks how these societies function. The United Federation and the Blessed Empire are going to go to war over him. I guarantee it.
The tutorial zone. That is exactly what this feels like. He is outgrowing this city by the hour, and the tension right now is at an absolute boiling point.
It really is.
Noah is invisible, untouchable, and walking into a dungeon that kills C-rank hunters for sport in 3 days. With an F-rank license. We'll see how that goes.
What's going to be absolute chaos? I cannot wait.
That's DeepLore for today. Drop your Soleil's Castle predictions in the comments. We read every single one. See you in the next one.